What is up, winning team? And welcome back to another episode of The World Never Being a Disappointment at Being Disappointing. Yes, before you notice, guys, I have got like a weird thing going on in my skin at the moment, and I actually think there's hormonal connections with it. And also because the tea oil I used to use, anyway, we're not going to get into it. L'Oreal bought the company I used to actually buy from, so I'm having to rejig my whole anyway. So here's this video, guys, and whatever videos I'm going to do while I'm out, because I just need to just bring some things to the table, a few things that I want to talk about. And I feel like this whole situation with Cuba not having electricity and stuff because of them having issues with oils, because of sanctioning happening, that is the one that pushed me over the edge today. That is the one that pushed me over the edge, but we're not even going to start there. We're not even going to start there. Where we're going to start is somewhere else, because I want to show why I feel like I've been really self-analyzing, which is going to become kind of ironic in a second. And I really think a lot like, am I just looking at the world all wrong? But then I realized that a lot of people, right, and this is another lesson on winning, okay? Because no one ever talks about the negatives, because everybody's so dazed with the positives that it's like telling people certain stories. Once they've heard one part of the picture, they just can't see any other part of it, because it's like, but what do you mean? That looks like that would have been so cool. If I had that opportunity, that would be this. Sure. This is really going to bother me. Anyways, so let's talk about this one situation I really want to get into, right? And it all starts with one of my current favorite streamers. Okay, and you guys know I like the streaming community. Why? For all the reasons they're critiqued. It's just a bunch of people, a bunch of men and women, just doing random stuff, right? It's not overly political. There's not people with huge egos. For the most part, they're just doing silly stuff, right? And this is what I mean when I say, we live in a world, where minding your business and just focusing on yourself, it reaps a lot of benefits, right? But then it also ignites the losers to display loser behavior. So there's one streamer who I keep mentioning because I feel like he's getting unnecessary hate. And I say that because the only comment anybody ever makes about him is that he's handsome, right? And again, I think a lot of people haven't spoken to a lot of good-looking people. So they talk about, as soon as somebody's good-looking, it's like, wow, your life, everything has to be perfect in his life because he's whatever, when he's actually worked really hard. Like, because you guys know me, I'm not your average 14-year-old watching streamers. I do my deep dives. I'm watching the deep videos about people's pasts and all that. So I'm talking about Marlon anyway. Now, I already mentioned him the other day because when he came for the Sidemen charity match with a whole bunch of other streamers, by the way, from all over the world and YouTubers, he, for the first time, was randomly targeted by a group of hood niggas, right, who don't even know him. The situation was very embarrassing. By the way, the guy ended up apologizing because after there was a knife pulled and all this, meanwhile, Marlon just went down to the chicken shop from his hotel. And I was just like, this is such loser behavior, actually. Because then, you see the thing with the losers, they always, at the end of the day, end up somehow regretting their actions. Oh, you can't see me. It's because the sun's about to set, directly over there. Hence why I'm outside. So it's always this loser behavior, right? And the thing that sticks out to me is that no one gives this guy credit. This is why I hate when, this is what I mean, I hate when the same situation I've seen 1,000 times keeps happening. Yeah, because it just ruins it for everyone. And this is why I'm like, look, I need to just stay away from everyone. I need to just stay away from everything because there's always going to be some unnecessary drama for no good reason when you're just minding your damn business, right? And so anyway, all anybody ever talks about, and it's weird with how the guys do it. Yeah, well, that Marlon guy, he's just handsome. Does he have anything else going for him? And it's like, he's athletic. He works hard at what he's doing. There's actually a lot of stuff going for him, and you're actually a big level hater if you're thinking, that he's just there because he's handsome or the only female audience he's going to have is because he's good looking. He's not even... Anyway, whatever. Like I said, loser behavior. If you don't... Like, we all have different things in life, guys. So I always say, figure out whatever cards you've been dealt and just figure out how to capitalize off of them. Do you know what I mean? It's like me on social media. I capitalize the fact that because of the day and age I'm living in and how society is, and here I was thinking I was going to be cold. Meanwhile, I'm so hot already. I know there's a lot of potential negatives in society as a result, for me, from being a black woman. But there's positives. One of them being, I can actually get away with saying the truth, which is why I say the truth on behalf of a lot of communities who I feel like would be shut down more quickly. It's as simple as that. I could focus on the negatives, and I talk about them sometimes. Or I could be like, hey, I can actually get away with doing certain things that actually is going to benefit everybody. So why am I going to think of the negatives of it, right? Anyway, so I'm getting into all this content with Marlon and these other American streamers, right? Because you guys know I'm a big Sidemen fan. And I don't know, none of the other like groups ever just really did it for me. Because I don't know, there's just, and you can tell now from the way that things have changed, a lot of it was people with gargantuan egos. Like the guy who supposedly founded the previous group, so the one Marlon's now in, and it's called Core. I'm not going to spend ages explaining this, but the long and short of it is, some of the guys in the group used to be part of a group of guys called Phase. I was never into Phase, and I could never tell why. But since they've all split up, and then the old guy who claims he brought everything together explains what happened, and he was looking butthurt. I'm not going to lie that he's not involved. But the thing is, what he was doing with them is the exact opposite thing that made the Sidemen successful, which again, shock. Now the Core boys are like, we each own 1/6 of the company each. People don't think about stuff like this. It's like the same reason why I wouldn't start a business and have investors unless I know these investors personally, because any amount of control they have, it can backfire, which is what happened with these guys. Hence why after all these years, there's this new group being formed called Core, and that's immediately what they're going to do, because they were never making as much money or anything as it seemed, because they were all owned by some management company, which goes back to like why I'm actually laughing at Hollywood these days. Everything is a new version of the old. They want to make another White Chicks movie. They want to do another Grown Ups 3. Like it's just a bunch of bigwigs in the world, yeah? A bunch of bigwigs, gatekeepers, trying to hold on to the power of everything and fumbling because, well, the generation that now makes adult money as well doesn't care. We don't want to be a part of it because we've seen the truth of it, and we've all grown up on social media where we get to hear multiple sides of the story, which is where this is going with Marlon. So I see some interview, and this Marlon guy, I told you guys, it's not good for me, the kids to all be in exams, because all I am is stressed on their behalf, right? Hearing the bad news about what came up in the exams, and then having too much time to be chronically online. And it's not a good combination. But anyway, so comes out that his brother does some interview with some other dude who I don't know. And again, it's funny how natural discernment works in your favor more than trying to assess how somebody is, right? So his brother's there doing an interview, and it's all dramatic, like the brother that Marlon refuses to talk about and whatever. Now, I'd be willing to bet quite a lot of money that the real reason Marlon isn't doing that is because of a lot of the stuff I'm saying now about wanting to live drama-free. Because his brother comes out to say, so Marlon started out, at the beginning, he didn't have any money. I think his girlfriend was supporting him financially. And he managed to book a couple of modeling jobs. Now, the key thing with this is, again, so many people think modeling, oh my gosh, that must be so nice. I wish I was handsome enough to be a model. it must be such a nice lifestyle just taking photos. And that's not my opinion at all. I think it must be quite objectifying to just have people, you know, only being valued for your looks. And also, we all know what we know about the industry. Let's not forget that girl we did a video on who admits that the reason she kept going back to Epstein Island is because he was promising to get her these modeling jobs and she always dreamed of being a model. That's why this desperate need people have for attention and affection, it's not good. Like, it's not good, because what you think you're going to get and what the reality is when you get there, yeah. And I've never been famous. I got close enough to wake up, and I've always been that kind of person where I don't need to be stuck in it for 20 years or 30 years in anything to realize that this isn't where I need to be. So we all know that story. This is why I'm here hiding out in this small town, which is turning into a city before my eyes, minding my business, teaching the kids, playing games, and watching freaking streamers, and going out in nature by myself, right? Because I'm like, I just want to mind my business. I don't want no drama in my life. I don't want to be selling no soul for nothing. So Marlon said he hated it, and I believe him. I believe him because of my own experiences, and I believe that's hard to believe for others because they're here, model, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, that's what I mean when people get dazed by this idea, this concepts they have of certain things that they haven't physically experienced, right? I would liken it to the same thing of people not understanding why people like myself talk about the student loan so much. It's like, because have you had a student loan? No, you haven't. So you were just told by somebody else that this was just a solution to everything, but you've never done it yourself. So how do you know, right? And you guys know me. I'm a believer in my research is the one I trust in the most. And my research, I mean, throwing myself into the thing itself and actually doing it and actually being there and actually experiencing it or actually attempting to see if it's as easy or whatever, which is why I have respect for literally like everyone, in terms of everybody has something that they can do far better than others or that they can excel at. So that's why I love learning about people's jobs and stuff or hobbies, because I'm like, that's so cool that you're good at that. Because I bet it's not as easy as it looks, right? But then that's how people think, because it's the loser mentality of, oh, you just got lucky, you just happened to get that opportunity. But there's nothing about you or nothing, whatever. Anyways, so he started doing the modeling literally as a way to save money. And he says he hated it and he couldn't wait to stop doing it, right? And his brother's problem is that his brother didn't. So his brother ends up being scouted by an agency as well, also good looking guy, right? Even saying stuff like that to me sounds off, because it's one of those things that it depends on everybody. Everybody has a different opinion of, like, so my mum used to say growing up, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, right? It's another reason I don't lose sleep over what people think about my appearance at all, because it's like, it is what it is. Like, move on. If there's only one person in the world who ever appreciated my looks, that's one enough. I don't know why people are so obsessed with, oh my gosh, I need all this attention and all this admiration, right? So anyway, the brother goes on to say, well, I went to the same modeling agency and they asked, hey, do we know you? Like, do you happen to know anyone by such and such name, because you look quite alike? And Marlon's brother's like, and then he's like, wait, what's his surname? And then they tell him, and he's like, whoa, that's my brother. Like, really? He was here? And blah, blah, blah. We asked him if we knew anyone, and he didn't say anything. Now, this is where the loser mindset comes into it, right? Because he and also the person interviewing him were both like, oh, how comes if he had that opportunity, why wouldn't he put you on? You know, they were like the betrayal. That was the word they used, the betrayal. And I love how easy it is for some people to just get to call other people betraying and have say their story and their side of things with their whole chest. And then for others, oh, it's a problem now, you're being messy. Why did you have to bring this to the internet? Why did you have to bring this up? This is why I'm just like, I'm not going to be anywhere. I'm not going to be anywhere, and I'm not going to talk to anyone, because these are the things, that I worry about when I'm saying, you guys, winning, you never know who's going to come out from the woodwork with the TikTok series. That's the only way I can describe it. You never know who's going to come out from the woodwork with a TikTok series. It was like this other woman, yeah? So, I mean, these people, they're not thinking twice. This is how you know that they're losers, because they're doing more pointing fingers and thinking about what somebody else didn't do And in all that time, you could have been working on yourself. In all that time, you could have been focusing on carving your own path. And then when it doesn't happen, and when you actually get the opportunities, like, it reminds me, I'll never forget of this example, because it just proved everything I already thought. When so KSI's brother's is Deji, right? And there was a period of time just after when KSI was really popping off, right? And he gets into a whole argument with his family to the point he's not speaking with his parents and he's not speaking with his brother. And of course, the jury of the sheep was like, oh, why do people forget those who were there for them when they're coming up, right? One that bull crap all over again. And then Deji goes to YouTube to do a whole long video sharing all his brother's secrets. Yeah, and I know people like this who I'm related to, because they've never been in the situation of actually dealing with a mass number of people having every single opinion to say about you, right? They don't realize how you can't just take that away when you put it all out. This is what I'm saying. How is it that I'm the one how is it that the people doing it don't understand? Like, the world doesn't understand the hypocrisy of, on the one hand, telling one person, sharing their story, they could have kept it private, but then the only reason you knew about it was because the person who opened their mouth first. But no one's coming with the fire for that. And now, even if you do, if the business is out there. So this is another one of the stories that makes me think it's not worth it. It's not worth it, mate. It's not worth it. So anyway, Deji, hold on one second. So that's what Deji did anyways, right? And it was a whole big mess. He shared, because even myself, you guys, I've shared a lot of stories about things that have happened to me. And I am actually so careful, not only to not be clear about who I'm talking about, not to give time frames, to try and strip away every single detail that, as close as possible, that could identify who I'm talking about, yeah? And I'm still considered to be too messy. That's crazy work. Especially when I thought you're supposed to speak up when people have mistreated you. Oh no, but only if it's one version of people and one side of people, right? Exactly. So anyway, Deji does all of that. And then this obviously takes a hit to KSI's career and whatnot. And also, he's being cut off by his family. Now, shock horror, once he does the apologizing, he does a whole documentary about how he, sat his father down so that they could hug for the first time, and he's making all the money that he's spending on all of them. Of course, everybody's happy families now. Of course, everybody's happy families. Everybody's happy families. And now they all do all this stuff together and all this. And I'll tell you why I bring up this story. Because KSI says to Deji, and this is where people don't realize, when everybody wants a handout, that's why everybody loves the people who are just giving handouts, yeah? The thing is, and this is why I'm glad how it went down. Should I just get out of here? Because the music's really loud, and honestly, it's giving me the ick right now. Hold on. I can't imagine living in a time where you're like actually dancing to a song like that and feeling like life is worth living. Like, I cannot fathom the idea. Like, there was actually a time where people were just enjoying music and enjoying stuff. That's insane. Anyways, I'll be right back. So anyways, as I was saying, this is the punchline, yeah? So years later, after all is said and done and we're all happy families, yeah? KSI one year decides to say to his brother, like, listen, I'll give you 6 months. If you can get a 6-pack in 6 months, right, I'll give you, I think it was $500,000 or $1 million, right? Now, obviously, this is the kind of deal you would only do with, like, your little brother, you know what I mean? Like, somebody that you're, that close, whatever, with. And bearing in mind that he didn't have anybody do that for him, right? He was one of the biggest, if he was, I think, the biggest of the Cybermen when they started, hence the name. When he started boxing, you might laugh at him for whatever, but he actually lost a lot of weight, and he's actually got a really good body, right? And he trains really hard for it. He gave up drinking. He hired a private chef because now he's got the money where he knows there's no excuse, right? So his brother's now in a different life. He's got all his own channels and whatever. Quick Millie, 6-month lockdown. All he had to do was just hire a freaking personal trainer, hire a private chef. He could have gone the laziest route, yeah? And I remember the live stream where everyone's like, I'm going to see how he did. Bro couldn't even do it. bro couldn't do it. I'm like, and you have so many things other people would use as excuses, like not having the time, not having the access, whatever anybody says, healthier food is more expensive, obviously, because the animals are treated well and the plants are looked after and the people making them are making the amount of money they deserve to make, not just this stuff that comes out from the lab. And he didn't do it. So he's standing there, he lifts up his shirt and he's got a couple little bumps there going on, but it wasn't that big of a transformation. And JJ used to be actually fat, significantly more weight. Even Ethan did a similar thing. He used to get teased by the internet constantly for his size. Bro locks in. And I remember his first marathon he did. Now he's all working out, got a Gymshark membership, all of this. It was all his hard work, right? Because again, a lot of these things were happening before the Ozempic days, or without all these steroids that people are on these days either. And he couldn't do it. Why am I bringing up this Deji story? Because to me, in that moment, he proved why his brother's where he is and why he isn't. That's the hardcore truth. That's the hardcore truth, because so many people right now would also be thinking the same thing. Like, of course, if I had that opportunity, I would have done it. That's what everybody thinks. In the same way, I'm sure some people would have been like, I've got 6 months. I'm sure I can do it in about 3. Rather than waking up the next morning and locking in and trying to make sure you give yourself plenty of leeway, see how quickly you're progressing, And so I'm just like, now I don't have anything against Deji, right? I do have less respect. But he's a funny guy, And now he's found his lane. And I'm like, so he has his own show that he does. He has all of his own things. He can afford, now he can afford to fly girls out all over the world. And it's like, so we could have just done that at first without making this a big mess. We could have just done that at first. And when I realized, because he would always be like at the boxing matches, after he was about to go on, he'd be like, JJ, do you think I can do it? Do you think I can do it? And it's like, KSI's looking at him, right, with that look of like, dude, get it together. Like, what are you going to do if I wasn't here to tell you could do it? And this is what I mean when I say, yeah, it's all worth it. Like, it's all fun and games. But like, sometimes what you're seeing somebody else doing, maybe you didn't have what it takes, like in terms of putting in the effort. And I don't want to be the effort police, guys, because I'm putting in very little effort into anything at the moment. So I'm not trying to say that if your life isn't where you want it to be, it's because you're not trying. I'm saying sometimes you have to come across humbling lessons. Because when JJ said what he does for his workout routine, I thought, oh, hell no. But respect to bro for that, though. Respect to bro. In the same way, I Show Speed was like flying all over the world. And even now, and again, this is just what sickens me. He's just been to the Caribbean. Has he done every continent already? And he does these long days where he streams and he visits like all these countries or all these states or all these whatevers. And he's just going, and it's just constant drainage of his energy. People want to touch him. People want to talk to him. Because again, people get weird when someone has something or that they want. If it's money, power, or fame, people get weird. They get entitled, right? How comes you're not spending your money like this? How comes Elon's not saving world hunger? How comes you're not helping the hungry around you? What are you doing for the local hungry people around you? Yeah, tell me how many hours a week that you're actually giving up your time, or how much stuff you've given up and you've cut down on spending on for the sake of providing for others. Yeah, talk about that before you start talking about what flipping Elon Musk is doing with his money, right? And I feel for I Show Speed. Like when I see him, like he's been passing out on camera because he's always like pushing himself at 100 miles per hour. Yeah, because he knows that the fans need the energy, which again, it's very draining. Being an entertainer in any way, it's extremely draining because everybody's just siphoning off all the effort you're putting in. So it's demanding, right? Which is again why I find it interesting that people don't respect people in entertainment. Because I'm like, do you know how difficult it must be? This is why I have respect for comedians. Again, I could never do comedy, but I love comedy a lot. Another example, Dr. Umar, right? Johnson, whatever his name is. He's another one who's looking like a freaking idiot at the minute because at the BET Awards, not the BET Awards, Netflix's official show for comedy roasts or whatever. And this is why, I was even thinking the other day, I missed the Sidemen roasts. They used to do roasts and they'll get like a small venue, a lot of their friends, and the jokes would be so dark, it would be so funny. But the thing is, it was fair game and everybody just took it on the chin. You now go to the Hollywood Netflix one now, the roast of whoever, and now again it's the freaking adults taking everything to heart, like, and taking everything so seriously. Because Kevin, I think, no, it's because somebody made a joke about because a white guy made a joke about what's his name? Oh, what's his name? The one who died because he couldn't breathe. Oh, what's his first name? Something Floyd. I was just literally looking into this earlier. For flip's sake, George Floyd. And he made a joke, and it was very on the edge. But I like comedy like that. This is why I like going to the small little comedy shows where like no one's there, like a Tuesday night by myself. Because I know if I go, somebody else will be like, oh, I feel like they took the joke too far. It's like, maybe you should be listening to comedy then. Like, it's like the only place you can go where people can say the truth and get away with it in public without, for the most part, people getting butthurt. That's actually why I like comedy. And I also think it's a skill how comedians are just funny and like intentionally funny, because I don't really know how to be intentionally funny. So that's another skill in my book. So he makes this joke and Dr. Umar's going off about, how are we going to sit there and let the white man make jokes about our black sisters? Meanwhile, your own daughter doesn't talk to you. You had a whole scandal on the internet, right? Because she showed that you happen to live up to the stereotypes with evidence of the very reasons why some people have certain things to say about black people. Like, make it make sense. So you're out here talking about, oh, we gotta protect the sisters. And this is what I'm saying. It's always the people who are quick to point out, like, because in all these times, people spend talking about somebody else, or plotting, or planning, or thinking, oh, I wish I had that. Those are the very same hours that person's focusing on themselves. This is like what I was saying to you about why I find it ironic that I'm always doing self-analysis, because I'm the one who's in control of me. Like, what have I gained? If I'm going to be talking about stuff, it's going to be in this platform. Like, at least I can look at the nonsense in the world and hopefully help other people learn some valuable lessons in life. No else taken. And also entertain myself. You know what I mean? And remind myself that, you know what, you're not crazy and you shouldn't be so hard on yourself. Because that's how I feel when I watch this stuff, because I'm always really like, oh, I'm not doing enough. I feel bad for God that I'm not more of a valuable asset these days. And then I see people boldly, there was another one that I saw, guys. I went on a deep dive, if you couldn't tell. It's my day off. I hate my day off because I end up doing this. And there was a woman who, again, starts a TikTok series, because it's what no one talks about. No one talks about the fact that some people, whether I am doing something or not, other people still have free will that they're going to use however they're going to use it. And I might not want to deal with the consequences. And I'll tell you why. Because this is how it happens in these scenarios. It always starts out like, oh, wow, why wouldn't you want this out? Or you don't have anything to hide. But it never goes there. It's always somebody says something first. It becomes a huge scandal. You have to break your back to bring the evidence to prove what they're saying isn't true, or that there's more to the story. So now you're forced to share information you didn't plan on sharing. And okay, great. Now everybody knows the truth. But then now everybody also knows all your business. Now you also have to deal with this stuff. And it's just like this story I'm about to tell you now. So there's some mother, right, on TikTok. And again, she makes a video about how her daughter stole her ex-husband. So we all know how that sounds, right? Well, what really happened? And again, this is what I mean when I say we know all these details. This is why I love and hate social media at the same time. I love it because I feel like now people have evidence that to actually help people who get falsely accused, right? Because there's proof, like what we're going to see from this lady. Because she said, they put me into a psychiatric ward and then they ran off together. Here's the real story of what happened, because there's evidence, right? So her daughter's got no contact with her, and hasn't spoke to her for years and years. But then she finds out that her mum and her her current husband at the time, not the daughter's father, by the way, but they're in a really bad spot financially and they really are needing to get out of it. She's building herself a nice little life with her boyfriend in another state, which I wouldn't be surprised if the reason she's left state has a lot to do with the woman we're talking about right now. And so they move. They've been gone for however long. She finds out that they're really stuck financially, and then she's like, "Hey, I might be able to get a job for your husband here, where I'm staying. You guys can come and live with us, and until you guys can get back on your feet and whatever, and hopefully have some work." So then he goes for an interview. He gets the job the next day, and they start selling their house and all of this and all of this. Now, in the process of selling the house, he's going to the other state to work, and the wife is staying at home, selling all the stuff in the house and getting the stuff for the house gone. And this all happens over the space of about 2 months. So it's not that long. And again, they were in a tough spot. Her daughter was doing way better off financially than she was, right? And anyways, her and said ex-husband start to have arguments about money because she wants to invest in her art business, and doing art is what she loves. It's always someone like this, at the expense of him literally moving his whole state to go and get a job, her daughter having to live with somebody she'd rather not live with, but then she's like, "Hey, I'm not going to leave you in the lurch," That's what I'm saying. It doesn't actually pay ever to actually, not with the world. But anyway, and so what ends up happening is, right when they sell the house, he the day after, they spent 3 nights of heaven together. She was saying it was so nice, and we just had this most beautiful time. And this, I mean, the people who are doing trouble in the world, they're never thinking of themselves. They're never thinking about accountability, and they're never aware of how much stress they're causing the people around them. They don't realize that they're sleeping 12 hours a day and they're loving life because everybody else is drained having to deal with them. Right? And there's so many people like that, guys. I don't know how, but anyway. That's because that's what the world enables, right? Because the world enables. It's something realizing the world loves to enable the people like that and put the weight of the world on the shoulders of the ones who are aware, just so that everybody else can just live more comfortably. This is why I've said, you know what, I'm going to start talking more honestly on YouTube and stuff, because I'm just sick of that. Because they're just multiplying now. They're just multiplying. Anyway, so yeah, he slaps her the morning after they've woken up, and he's like, "I've spoken to an attorney," and he's drawn up papers. So in the midst of him being away, and I reckon, what probably happened is he's probably had the freaking, and this is where I respect him at least for this, he probably had the wake-up call of a lifetime, watching her 18, I think, year old daughter or 19-year-old daughter living in this long relationship she's been in with her boyfriend. They're all happy. She's on social media making videos of interior designing, and as her mum starts to make all these videos, she's not saying anything online, right? Again, the expected thing you're supposed to do, and no one's saying anything online. And so he's now spending time away from her with them, and it probably hit him it's actually low-key embarrassing for this woman's daughter to be so, because he's probably heard all the stories. This is what I'm saying. He probably heard all the stories. He probably sat through a whole bunch of rants and raves and comments about the reason why her daughter doesn't talk to her, and how she's the victim, right? Next thing, so I do believe that she probably played a hand in the divorce, but not in the way that the mum's trying to suggest. But obviously that's the only reality she can believe in, because there's not a single reality where she can ever be wrong, and there's only the reality where she is always the victim. Again, this is the losers, how they think. This is how they think. There's no part of them, and you'll find they can't be held accountable for nothing. And anything they will take accountability for, it'll always be in a shady kind of way. So it'd be yeah, well, maybe sometimes I rose my voice at you, but that's because I had to deal with you and you. You know what I mean? It's always that was your fault, right? So this is why I say you can't keep these people around you, because I can tell you this did numbers on my own, with so many different people throughout my life, did numbers on my own mental health. Hence why I'm always wondering oh no, I'm never doing good enough. I need to level up. I need to do better. No one befriend me, because I promise you I'm going to ruin your life somehow unintentionally. And as it turns out, so he files for divorce. Then what really happened is, as they're going back and forth and arguing and whatnot, she had been taking videos on TikTok, mind you. This is what I'm saying. Some people, the losers just get to get away with their behavior in this world. They just get to get away with it, right? She's here on TikTok filming herself going into his camper, right? As they're in the middle of all this, as if they weren't going through enough. She's smashing his stuff, putting broken glass in his bed, yeah? And then proceeding to go and cackle in her car on TikTok about how funny this is and how he deserves it. And when people were calling her out and she's having to deal with the legal proceedings because now her daughter's had to speak out and other people have had to in defense, because then that's what happens is the people who know the truth end up getting roped into it because then they feel bad or they end up getting involved because the daughter happened to have a friend who was really popping on TikTok as well. This is what I'm saying when I say, yeah, like when I'm thinking, should I upload a song of me singing? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Should I try and do anything I want to do that involves people? Maybe not. Anyway, so she anyways has got all the evidence now, hasn't she, for the court proceedings, because now they have little proof of her behavior, because basically even the ex-husband came out to make a statement and he was like, the reason she ended up she wasn't in a mental hospital, but they kept her under custody, is because they just thought it would be safer for her and everyone while she calms down a bit. And nobody knew what to do, because this is what these people are like. They're like if you like were to like just set off a firework that just started going crazy and malfunctioning. That's what I feel like being around people like this is like. That's why I don't want to be around anybody, because then as soon as they now have to, they go off of their chaos, you have to be caught in the freaking crossfire. And it's so annoying, because it's like, I was just minding my business, like I was saying about Marlon. Bro's just on stream talking about, I'm going to a chicken shop in London. He just come down from his hotel. He's chill. He's greeting everybody. He's being nice. And then a whole bunch of guys come up to him, are waiting outside as if they want to start an altercation. And now, God forbid, if he doesn't respond the way he's supposed to respond, even though he didn't start nothing. He didn't start anything. Nothing at all. And I'm just like, this is crazy. This is crazy. So anyways, after all is said and done, now everybody knows about this woman's story. It's the same thing like I was saying. It's like it's always these people who the jury of the sheeple sides on, because they're the ones who are the most desperate to be seen whilst not having the temperament to actually do the work, take accountability. This is why I say accountability is so important. You have to take accountability. It's not about making the other person feel good that because you're wrong and they're right. It's about you. It's about the fact that if you don't lock in, if you don't do what you need to do, no one else is going to do it for you. If you don't find a way, if you don't hustle, because if it was that true, that it was just so impossible for us all to do stuff, or that it was never your own fault, then the world would be different. We'd all be rich, we'd all be whatever. But like, I'm just getting sick of the fact that certain people are just ruining it for everyone. And then the rest of us are supposed to just what? Tolerate, enable. What the heck? What the heck? What do you mean tolerate and enable? And then they're the ones who sit on their high horses of self-righteousness. Yeah, oh, I got into Christian mum talk. Oh dear, we're going to do a separate video about that. Why did I find myself on Christian mum talk? And it was again, oh my gosh, we're going to do that as a separate video, I think. And leave this as a part one, because that's its own whole ball game. And I was just like, and these are the women that men are impregnating. These are the women who are in church, running children's churches, who are there, right, walking around as like the Christian lady down the road who makes the best apple pie. Like, these are the people, and they're roaming freely. Because the thing that drives me crazy, yeah, especially about social media, because I do the same thing of intentionally knowing. Like now, I checked that my phone battery was charged. I checked to have enough storage before I left, right? I've thought about like, okay, I don't know about the weather. I don't know how long I'm going to be out. It's going to be sunset. So if I want to be able to be seen on camera, I need to go out while the sun is setting, hence me being out right now at sunset. Like, I know that I'm pressing record. I know that I'm sitting there writing a title. I know that I'm hitting upload, and then I'm getting the little notification that my video's finished uploading. And then I'm going on there and I'm pressing publish. Now, for me, I don't always watch my videos back. In fact, a lot of times I don't. And that's also a choice. Sometimes it's on purpose, because I'm like, okay, I went in. Because you see how I'm like never looking at the camera? It's because I'm really just sharing my thoughts. And if I'm too aware that I'm making a video, I'm not going to say my thoughts like how they are in my head. I'm going to say them in like a more PR trained way. And we all know that's what I'm trying to work against. So when I see people just boldly coming on the internet doing this stuff, yeah, and I'm like, what possesses you in your head, yeah, to genuinely not see the problem here. Like, and to genuinely never see yourself as the problem. Like, what possesses you to actually come out here? Because I found out about this whole rapture thing, and how a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of the Christian moms are talking about how the rapture's coming and to get ready. And that's what's a little bit frustrating, being a woman of God, right? Is a lot of us all say the same stuff. Like, so it's just like, then when you then say it and you realize, because it's not been realized, it's another thing that's been making me feel annoyed, is like, there's a lot of things I can't even really say because it's like other Christians have said it or say it. And then because that's what people have experienced, I get lumped in with the same group. That's what I'm saying. There's no point trying with anything with humans, like no point at all. No point at all, because then it's always the frigging false, fake, phony losers who are getting away with this. And then there's me, tries to do a nice video reading the Quran, doing a nice video talking about all these other religions, and it's all the men in the comment section coming for me. Meanwhile, they're the ones married to these very types of women. Maybe that's why they're so bitter, and maybe they should grow some bollocks. Like, in actuality, because that's what I've been thinking about. But anyways, we're going to come back for part 2. I'm going to talk about the Christians on social media, because I've had it up to here, and I don't really like to listen to any Christians on social media because, again, a lot of it, I feel like the intentions... Anyways, we'll come into that in the next video. I've harped on enough in this one. But yeah, so Marlon's brothers trying to say it was a betrayal. Everybody was all on his side, like, oh, but if I had a brother and I had opportunities, I would rope people in. Actually, people wouldn't a lot of the time. A lot of times people are selfish, and I've also experienced that myself, where, like, you're with a group of people and somehow... this one person does really well, and all of a sudden they can justify buying a Lamborghini, but they can't justify like wanting to work together on building a business or whatever. They want to keep it all for themselves. So that's not even true. And second of all, and this is where my angle was, and this is the sad part, what if the reason why Marlon didn't involve his brother when he was asked is because he knows the industry, he saw it, he was there, and he loves his brother so much that he wouldn't wish that on his brother. And this is where I say that love, like, you know, 1 John 3:18, little children, let us love, not just in word, but in deed and in truth, right? Sometimes when you love people, you have to make decisions that they might not like, but that you can live with. Because I can tell you for free, if I had found out that I was the reason that anybody that I cared about got involved into certain things, right? I remember even when I had my own dance company, that's exactly why one of the main reasons I stopped doing it is because majority of the dance, the music videos and like the performances and the concerts and stuff I was getting asked to do, I did not feel comfortable being the middleman with these lovely, beautiful young women in my group, being the reason they are there. I was not comfortable being the connection for them. Whatever they did, I was always supportive of them, and that was their choice as adult women. But I'm not going to be the reason. I'm not going to be the middleman. And so I just stopped having a lot of opportunities because I wasn't prepared to be the reason. I wasn't. And, you know, some of the jobs, if they heard about it, they'd probably be like, oh, that's so cool. I would have loved to do that. And I would have say, you know what? I understand that. But like, listen, I can't be the reason you're there. Because if anything happens, and this is where, again, I say a lot of people will be willing to throw somebody else they know under the bus. Or look at what we see with the freaking child stars and nowadays the child influencers, where how many parents, how many families are willing to put children on the internet in precarious situations just for money? How many people are turning a blind eye? And we think those people are the ones who get the credit, by the way, for being caring and all this. Oh, it's so cute to watch your baby so-and-so growing up. Why? Like, why? That's weird. Like, especially when we know, because I hate when people say stuff like, I know there's weirdos on the internet, but no, full stop. There's weirdos on the internet. So don't be like, I've heard these stories. And everyone always thinks that. It's so funny. Everyone thinks everything's never going to happen to them. Oh, I never thought that it would happen to me. I've heard the stories. Guys, be very careful with what you put out on the internet. It's always like that. This is why I'm like, this society that I'm living in is so brain dead. Like, and I can't believe I've had to be here for 29 years now. I've been here for 29 years now. And for what? For us to wake up as more stupid every day. And protecting the losers. Because these people aren't helping society. They're actually worsening it. Every single situation I'm telling you about is displaying division, hypocrisy, all the things that are making everything a mess. Right? That's what it's doing. It's adding more layers to, like I was saying, with Dr. Umar going on, this white dude made a joke about this and he's flipping off. There's so many things going on with race these days. It's unbelievable. Right? unbelievable, or this person's talking about this person like that. Family members, my daughter did this, my whoever did this. It's in shatters. And I will keep talking about it because everybody wants to just only focus on the good without realizing that the good is lessening and lessening as the days go on. It's lessening and lessening as the days go on because we refuse to deal with the bad things. We refuse to address them. And then we wonder how these things keep happening and why, the probability of this stuff happening to us is increasing now. Because we just turn a blind eye. It's the little things. It's like, when people go out, like now, I would never go out like clubbing or anything for the simple fact of like, you have to think so hard. Like, I can't believe there was ever a time I could just go out on a night out, right? And just go and want to be in a building. This was thing when they're thinking, oh, I want to dance with somebody. No, I don't want to dance with nobody because I don't want to be with nowhere with no one. Because now it's like, oh, I go out as a woman. God forbid I go to a restaurant. Yeah, and the restaurant and me as an adult who goes after work stays there and they happen to have a bar. And something happens. I'm drinking a Coca-Cola. I'm getting a Coca-Cola with some limes in it. Loads of ice, nice and crisp. Yeah, and I'm just sitting there with my friends after work. And now I've got to worry about my drink being spiked. So always keep an eye on your drink. Like everything is like, and do you know what's funny? When I mention a story like this for a reason, because what people will say is they won't say, wow, what is the issue in society that people are still are increasingly doing this stuff? We're developing new drugs to spike people's drinks. They'll come to me. Well, why were you out at this time? Well, why were you like this? Well, why were you dressed like this? Again, it's protecting the people doing the stuff and they're just getting away with it. We don't know who they were because we didn't see them. But what everybody has to say to me is about why I should. This is why I'm like, so when I'm inside, I'm not going anywhere and I'm not talking to anyone. How is that then still a problem? Oh, but it's important to have friends and family. And it's nice to be in love. And it's nice to go out and do things. No. Because if something goes wrong in any way, somehow I've got to deal with the drama. I don't want it. I don't. This is what I mean when I say we're never focusing on the right things. We're never focusing on the right things. Like I said, we don't focus in church on the fact that it's weird that a man of God who's supposed to have self-control can't control himself around women and children who in church, and I need to be dressed modestly. But you're supposed to be that you should have the strongest self-control in this room right now. Otherwise, what are you even leading? So no wonder everybody's still suffering with all these sins and all these demons in private. No wonder no one's getting real healing and deliverance. No wonder the church doesn't look any different to the world. I wonder why. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, we're going to come back for the Christian one next because, yeah, I've got a lot to say about that. And I really want to stay out for the sunset. Or just a little bit more because, I'm not feeling great. It's that time of the month, y'all. And it is not fun. And just another thing where it's just like, anyway, we'll get into that. If life's a game to play to win, come back for me to talk about the Christian mums on the internet. Because, wow, what these people are getting away with. And then the next thing you'll see, they'll be in some Facebook group talk about, I took this beautiful photo with my 5 kids and my 20 grandchildren. And everybody's all in matching freaking sweatshirts. Meanwhile, everyone's actually going through hell. It's all just a photo. It's all a facade. It's all fake. But we can't talk about that, right? Because she's a good Christian woman. Well, guess what? Guess who doesn't care? Not me actually seeing his squatting on the bench. But anyways, I actually feel like the squatting position is really comfortable. Is it just me? Anyway, if life's a game is pay to win, God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.